The Lakers' training facility has been the site of something remarkable over the past 72 hours, something that could completely shift the trajectory of our season and answer questions that have been haunting this team for weeks. There's a player who's working in shadows, putting in the hours away from the bright lights, crypto, calm arena, going through a process that every Lakers fan has been watching with a mixture of hope and anxiety. His return isn't just about adding another body to the rotation or giving J.J. Redick more options off the bench. We're talking about restoring balance to a team that's been operating with one hand tied behind its back, about getting back a two-way contributor whose absence has exposed vulnerabilities we simply can't afford as we chase championship. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your most reliable source for breaking Lakers news, in-depth analysis, and insider perspectives on everything purple and gold. I'm here to bring you the latest updates and most credible insights about our beloved Lakers, making sure you're always informed about every development that impacts this franchise's pursuit of Banner 18. Today, I'm bringing you news that should energize every Lakers fan concerned about our struggles and wondering when we'll finally get. But before I reveal exactly what's happened, I need you to understand the complete picture of where we stand right now as a team and why the next few days could define whether we're legitimate contenders or just another good team that falls short when it matters. This isn't about overreacting to small sample size or getting too high on early season. This is about recognizing patterns, identifying weaknesses, and understanding how roster construction impacts championship viability in today's NBA. Let me be direct about what I've observed watching every Lakers game this season. We're sitting at 23 wins, 12 losses, 5th in the Western Conference, which sounds respectable on this. But dig deeper into those numbers and you'll find troubling trends that can't be ignored. We're last in the entire NBA in bench scoring at just 24.9 points per game. That's not just bad, that's catastrophically bad. The gap between us and even second worst bench in the league is significant. When your starters are carrying that heavy a load every single night, when there's no legitimate secondary scoring threat coming off the pine, you're asking for trouble as the season grinds on and fatigue becomes a fact. Our three-point shooting has been another persistent issue all season long. We ranked 25th in the league in made threes per game, just 11.6. In an era where the three-point line dictates so much of offensive efficient spacing, being near the bottom of the league in that category severely limits what we can accomplish. Offense teams pack the paint against us. They dare our role players to beat them from deep, and too often those shots don't fall. That puts enormous pressure on LeBron and AD to create everything, to manufacture offense in tight spaces against loaded defenses, and even players of their caliber can't sustain that burden for an entire season, plus a deep playoff. The injury situation has compounded structural weakness significantly. Austin Reeves remains sidelined, and his absence removes one of our most reliable playmakers and shot creators off the bench. Gabe Vincent just returned from a lower back injury, but is being monitored close as he works his way back to full. Rookie Adu Thiero is. And then there's the situation with LeBron James, who at 41 years is managing left foot joint arthritis and right sciatic. LeBron himself addressed his availability recently with characteristic bluntness, telling reporters that every back-to-back the rest of the season is to be determined because he's 41, most minutes in history. That's reality, not an excuse. And it means this roster needs legitimate depth that can carry the load when our superstar needs rest. Into this challenging situation, Jake, who's been elevated into the starting lineup and responded admirably. He dropped 21 and 26 points in back-to-back wins over Memphis to open the new year, then added 16 points and 7 rebounds against San Antonio while hitting 4 three-pointers. Beyond the scoring, he's been active defensively with 10 steals across the game started. LaRavia has shown he belongs in this league and can contribute when given opportunity. Some fans have even called for him to remain in the starting lineup moving forward. But here's the thing we need to understand clearly. LaRavia's emergence is wonderful, but it's also been born out of necessity. Rather, we're asking players to fill roles they weren't necessarily designed for because injuries have forced us to dig deeper into the rotation than any contending team wants to go. Players like Bronny James, Maxi Kleber, and Dalton Knecht are occupying full roster spots, limited production so far this season. That's not a criticism of those individuals. It's an acknowledgement that when you're relying on players who aren't quite NBA ready or who are still finding their footing, you're compromising the team's ceiling. Championship teams have 8 to 9 players they trust in meaningful minutes. Right now, with all the injury and lineup shuffling, we're struggling to consistently field even 7. That's unsustainable if we have genuine champions. The Western Conference landscape makes this urgency even more. Oklahoma City sits at the top, a comfortable lead, playing exceptional basketball on both ends. San Antonio's right there in second place, just 2 games ahead of us, and they've been one of the league's biggest surprises this season. The conference is absolutely loaded with talent from top to bottom. Every playoff spot is going to be fiercely contested, and once the playoffs begin, every matchup will be brutal. We can't afford to limp into the postseason depleted and exhausted. We need to be hitting our stride, playing our best basketball with everyone healthy and roles clearly defined. This brings me to the development that happened Thursday, the news that's been building throughout this entire video. One of our key rotation players, someone whose absence has been felt profoundly over the past few weeks, received an upgrade on the injury report. After missing 5 consecutive games while recovering from injury, after working through the rehab precaution patient, after being assigned to our G League affiliate for on-court work to test his conditioning, this player has now been listed as questionable for our upcoming game against Milwaukee. That player is Rui Uchimura, and his potential return could not come at a better time for this franchise. Rui Uchimura has been sidelined since late last month with a right calf. The Lakers have been appropriately cautious throughout his recovery because calf injuries can be tricky. They can linger if rushed, and the last thing we need is to bring him back prematurely only to have him suffer a setback. He missed our recent 2-game road trip against New Orleans, San Antonio, staying back in Los Angeles to continue his rehabilitation work. The fact that he was signed to the G League for on-court work is significant because that's typically the final step before a player returns to game action. It allows them to test conditioning, get live reps against actual competition, and make sure everything feels right before stepping to NBA game. The upgrade to questionable on Thursday signals that Rui has made significant progress and is close to being cleared for return. Now questionable doesn't guarantee he'll play against Milwaukee, but it means he's trending in the right direction and could very well be back in uniform soon. For a Lakers team that's been scrambling to find consistent rotations and reliable production, getting Rui back would be massive for multiple reasons that I want to break down in detail because his impact goes far beyond his individual statistics. Let's start with what Rui has provided this health. Through 27 games, he's averaging 12.7 points, 3.8 rebounds, while shooting an incredibly efficient 52.1% from the field. But here's the number that should really excite Lakers fans. He's shooting 44.5% from three-point range on 4.1 attempts per game. That's a career-high three-point percentage, and it's exactly the kind of efficient floor spacing we desperately need. Remember when I mentioned earlier that 25th in the league and made Rui has been one of our most reliable three-point threats and his absence has only made that weakness more glaring. Rui's versatility is what makes him so valuable to how J.J. Redick wants to play. He can defend multiple positions, switching onto wings and even handling some bigger forwards in the post. His size at 6'8" gives us switchability that's crucial in today's positionless NBA. Offensively, he's comfortable operating in different areas of the floor. He can spot up the corners threes, he can attack closeouts, finish at the rim, he can hit mid-range jumpers, and he's developed into a legitimate catch-shoot. That kind of two-way versatility is exactly what championship teams need from their role player. You can't have specialists who are only good at one thing. You need players who can contribute in multiple ways depending on what the game demands. The Lakers' offense functions so much better with Rui on the floor because he provides spacing that allows LeBron and AD to operate. When Rui is camping in the corner or spotting up on the wing, defenses have to respect his shooting, which opens driving lane, post-up opportunities for our stars. Without him, teams have been able to pack the paint more aggressively, making everything harder for LeBron and AD. The difference in offensive flow and spacing has been noticeable during his absence, and getting him back should immediately improve how efficiently we score. Defensively, Rui's return addresses some of the flexibility issues we've had with our rotation. We've been asking guys to play out of position at times, and while everyone has competed hard, there's only so much you can do when the matchups aren't ideal. Rui gives us another body who can credibly guard guard the opponent's better forward, someone who has the size and strength to battle in the paint, but also the lateral quickness to stay with perimeter players when switches occur. In playoff basketball, where every possession matters and matchups can determine series, having that kind of defensive versatility is invaluable. There's also the psychological component of getting healthier team. The Lakers have dealt with the injury bug all season long, never really having everyone available extended. That constant shuffling of lineups prevents chemistry from developing, prevents players from getting comfortable in specific roles, and creates uncertainty that can affect performance. When you finally start getting guys back, when you can establish more consistent and let players settle into defined roles, the entire team benefits. Confidence grows, execution improves, and you start to see the team play with more cohesion and purpose. Now, the big question that will dominate conversations once Rui returns is whether he goes back into the starting lineup or comes off the bench. Jake LaRavia has earned consideration to stay in the starting five with how well he's played. But I think the more important point is that Rui's presence simply gives J.J. Redick options he hasn't had recently. Maybe Rui starts some nights depending on the matchup. Maybe he comes off the bench, provides instant offense with the second unit. Maybe the roles are fluid depending on how games develop. The key is having that option, having that quality player available who can contribute in meaningful minutes. The bench scoring issue I mentioned earlier becomes much more manageable with starting or not. His minutes will provide production we've been lacking from the non-starter minute. If he's coming off the bench, he immediately becomes the most dangerous scoring threat in that second and can carry the offense when LeBron and AD sit. If he's starting, it likely means LaRavia moves to the bench and continues providing the spark he's shown recently. Either way, we're getting NBA-caliber production from more spots in the rotation, which is essential for sustaining success over the long season. The timing of Rui's potential return is also significant because we're about to hit a stretch of schedule where we've several opponents. Milwaukee tough, especially with Giannis and Dame doing what they do. We've got more challenging games coming up where we'll need everyone healthy and contributing. Getting Rui back now, giving him a few games to shake off the rust and get his conditioning right, sets us up to be at or near strength to navigate the middle portion of the. That's crucial for maintaining our playoff positioning and building momentum heading toward the stretch run. I also want to address the broader roster construction question because Rui's injury has exposed how thin we are in certain areas. The Lakers need to be exploring every possible avenue to add depth before the trade. Whether that's through trades, buyout market additions, or G League call-ups, we can't be satisfied with the current depth situation. Our championship window is now while LeBron is still playing at an elite level and AD is in his prime. We owe it to them and to Lakers fans everywhere to maximize this roster and give ourselves the best possible chance to compete for a title. Rui coming back helps tremendous, but we still need more reliable options, particularly shooting and perimeter defense. The three-point shooting deficiency I mentioned earlier doesn't get completely solved by Rui's return, though it certainly helped. We're still going to rank near the bottom of the league in made threes even with him back because it's a roster-wide issue. Austin Reeves' absence compounds since he's another capable shooter, but the Lakers have to find ways to generate more open looks three and convert them at a. Maybe that means tweaking offensive schemes, better spacing. Maybe that means emphasis transition opportunities where we can get cleaner looks before defensive set. Maybe it means being more selective about which threes we take. Solution: it needs to be addressed because you simply can't win championships in the modern NBA if you can't shoot from deep at a respectable level. LeBron's situation deserves mention as well. His health and availability directly impact everything this team does. He's been listed as questionable recently with foot and back issues, and at 41 years old with the most minutes in NBA history, as he himself pointed out, load management is going to be part of the equation. The Lakers need to be smart about when they rest him, when they reduce his minute, and when they ask him to carry heavy load. Getting Rui back helps with that calculus because it's one more capable player who can pick up some of the offensive burden. The deeper our rotation, the more we can manage LeBron's minute without sacrificing competitive. That's essential for having fresh and healthy when the playoffs arrive. Before we wrap this up, I want to hear directly from you because your perspective as Lakers fans matters. How important do you think Rui Uchimura's return as team's champion? Do you believe he'd go back into the starting lineup immediately or come off the bench behind LaRavia? What other moves do you think the Lakers need to make? Depth shooting concern? Drop your comments below because because I read every single one, and your input shapes how we discuss critical topics moving forward. Here's my final analysis on this crucial development. Rui Uchimura's impending return is exactly the kind of good news the Lakers desperately needed. His two-way contributions, his elite shooting efficiency, his defensive versatility, all of it has been missed. Getting him back doesn't solve every problem this roster has, but it's a significant step toward being the complete team we need to be for a championship run. The Lakers are talented enough to compete with anyone when healthy, but health has been elusive all season. If we can finally get everyone back and keep them on the court together extended stretch, I believe this team can make serious noise in the Rui's return brings us one step closer to that goal, and that should have every Lakers fan feeling optimistic about what's. Make sure you're subscribed to Lakers News Fan and hit that notification so you don't miss any uptrack Rui's return, all the latest Lakers development. This is your home for comprehensive, reliable Lakers coverage that goes beyond surface-level reporting. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this community, and let's keep believing in what this team can accomplish when everyone is healthy and firing on all cylinders. Lakers Nation, let's get this champion. Stay tuned for more updates.